General Hospital spoilers reveal that Michael Corinthos will return to Port Charles just as the 2025 Nurses' Ball is about to begin, the show's iconic annual event, where music, lights, and glamorous performances serve only as the backdrop for secrets revealed, relationships tested, and long-buried nightmares waiting to surface. But this year, the Nurses' Ball isn't just a night of artistic celebration, it becomes the epicenter of a major chain of events. Key players are quietly shifting positions. And Michael, previously assumed to be gone for a longer period, makes a surprise return right as the truth is poised to explode. Michael's return isn't just a touching family reunion, it marks the first signal of a systemic shakeup in the storyline. He's not back to rekindle unfinished love stories, but to confront the web of lies that were cruelly constructed behind his back. During his absence, Michael was being treated in Germany following a mysterious accident, one that many in town had chalked up to coincidence. But cracks are beginning to form in that narrative. Suspicious threads involving Drew, Willow, and other powerful figures in Port Charles are beginning to unravel. What once seemed like harmless coincidences, like Michael refusing to meet anyone, or Willow's inconsistent statements, are now emerging as clues to a much larger conspiracy. And Michael, once a victim, now stands as the one most capable of rewriting the entire story. As news of his return spreads, both fans and residents inside and outside of Port Charles begin to buzz with speculation. But things take a sharp turn when the show confirms that YDE, the singer and actress beloved for her Nickelodeon roles, will make her Grand General Hospital debut during the Nurses' Ball with a Spissy Al musical performance on May 22nd. However, what the producers haven't said may be the most important part: YDE's character is more than just a guest performer. She will have a direct and loaded interaction with Michael in upcoming episodes, forging an unexpected link between past and present, survival and secrecy, truth and darkness. Behind-the-scenes sources suggest that YDE may be playing someone who encountered Michael during his time in Germany, perhaps a nurse, a hidden confidant, or even a witness to something involving Drew or those who orchestrated Michael's isolation. If this is true, YDE's appearance won't just be a musical number, it will be a testimony in song. The spark that pulls suppressed truths into the light. Her lyrics may serve as metaphors for hidden realities. And her brief interaction with Michael could set off a wave of doubt and suspicion, particularly in Drew, Willow, and even Jason, who has begun piecing together the inconsistencies surrounding Michael's recovery. In 2025, the Nurses' Ball won't just be about beauty and art. It will become the operating table where a deeply entrenched system of deceit is exposed. Willow may no longer keep her calm demeanor if Michael publicly questions her narrative. Drew may face total ruin, not just in terms of relationships, but in legal and moral credibility. Carly, once thinking she was holding the family together, will have to choose sides when the truth forces her to decide between her son and those she once called allies. And Jason, the seemingly neutral figure, may be forced into action if he realizes that his silence helped place Michael in a conspiracy that nearly cost him his life. In all of this, YDE becomes a strange anchor point, a stranger, new to the stage, yet bringing with her an eerie resonance. She may not just be a witness, but the keeper of a memory Michael wants to forget, or can't. Perhaps she holds evidence. Perhaps she saw something. Or worse, perhaps she was hired to play a role in the plan to remove Michael from Port Charles. And if her performance leads to a final twist at the end of the Nurses' Ball, where the closing song is not a love ballad, but an indictment, then Port Charles will no longer be able to turn away from the truth. Michael hasn't returned just to live, he's returned to provoke, to confront, to unlock the final door in a maze of deception. And under the dazzling lights of the 2025 Nurses' Ball stage, where all eyes are on the beauty of performance, there will stand one man, not to entertain, but to declare, the nightmare is over, and the truth must finally be heard. Though YDE's specific role in General Hospital has not been officially confirmed, her appearance at the Nurses' Ball has already ignited a storm of speculation, analysis, and anticipation from fans and insiders alike. What makes it all the more intriguing and tense is the timing. She arrives just as Michael returns from his supposed recovery in Germany and just as cracks begin to appear in the lies surrounding Drew, Willow, and the manipulation of Michael's treatment. In this atmosphere of suffocating deceit, YDE's performance is no longer just a musical act, it's the trigger for a new eruption in the storyline, where every subtle shift that's been happening behind the scenes could be violently upended. If the popular theory proves true, that YDE plays a nurse who once cared for Michael in Germany, or someone directly connected to his time in isolation, then her role is far from minor. She won't be a background player, she will carry crucial missing pieces of a larger puzzle. Maybe she witnessed something suspicious at the clinic. Maybe she was forced into silence about the true reasons Michael was kept from seeing Willow. Or maybe, at his lowest moment, she was the only one who supported him, when those closest to him were being manipulated or kept away. That's where the trouble begins. If YDE's character holds any piece of the truth and chooses to speak out, then what she brings to Port Charles isn't just memory, it's an indictment of the entire system that sought to cover up Michael's disappearance and trauma. And if she arrives on the night of the performance, while the town is lost in music and lights, then even a single look, a line of dialogue, or a symbolic lyric could send the conspirators into panic. Willow won't be able to stay composed if she recognizes the woman from the clinic standing on that stage. Drew may have to retreat if confronted by a witness he can't control. Jason, Carly, Diane, anyone who has doubted the strange threads around Michael's story, will start to connect the dots. YDE's character could explode into relevance if she isn't just a messenger but also emotionally connected to Michael, someone who saw him at rock bottom, someone who helped him heal, truly. If they shared a brief but genuine bond, then her reappearance could open a new emotional depth for Michael, now returning in a fragile mental state and forced to reckon with the reality that those closest to him didn't truly fight for him. With Willow pushed into a defensive corner, Jason and Carly beginning to question what they once believed, YDE may become Michael's only steady ground, and the only person brave enough to expose the lies with a single action or phrase powerful enough to break the system. All of this suggests that YDE's debut isn't a one-off cameo, but a signal of deep transformation. She won't need to say much, just stand in the right place, at the right moment, and do the right thing, and those controlling the narrative will begin to falter. Because once the truth begins to emerge, it can't be stopped. And if YDE's character truly is the missing link to uncovering what really happened to Michael, then she's not just a guest at the nurses' ball, she's the one ushering in a new chapter for General Hospital, where even the darkest secrets must finally be dragged into the light. Michael is at a pivotal point in his life, as every aspect of his existence, from his role as a father to his standing in the family and the entire town, is more fragile than ever before. After a long absence and a period of treatment in Germany, Michael returns to Port Charles not just to appear under the lights of the nurses' ball, but to reclaim custody of Wiley and Amelia, two children at the heart of an intense legal, emotional, and political battle within the town. But that journey is anything but easy. Willow is being manipulated. Drew is manipulating everything. Jason, Carly, and Diane are still stumbling through the shadows of a massive conspiracy yet to be unraveled. And with no clear ally in sight, the unexpected arrival of a new character, a young woman portrayed by YDE, could shift the entire narrative out of its deadlock. So far, YDE's specific role remains unconfirmed, but based on behind-the-scenes leaks and the intensifying storyline, she may be playing a nurse or healthcare worker who interacted with Michael during his treatment in Germany. No one knows exactly what she witnessed, but if she saw anomalies at the clinic where Michael was kept in isolation, or overheard conversations involving the denial of Willow's visits, then she holds a piece of the truth no one else does, a missing puzzle piece that could collapse the entire structure of lies built over the past year. But the complications don't stop there. While Michael struggles to re-establish his place in the lives of his children, a new crisis begins to take shape, involving Sasha, who finds herself caught between a traumatic past and an uncertain future. Sasha, having endured deep psychological wounds and loss, may now be pregnant. And if that's true, questions will erupt. Who is the father? Under what circumstances did the pregnancy occur? Who is controlling the narrative around Sasha's condition? These aren't just secrets, they are ticking time bombs. YDE, in the role of Sasha's caregiver, might be the only one with access to Sasha's medical, psychological, and emotional truths. And if Sasha trusts her more than anyone else, while everyone around her has their own agendas, YDE could become the sole gatekeeper of what gets revealed and what remains buried. If Sasha accidentally reveals she became pregnant after a night with Michael, or if YDE discovers inconsistencies in the medical records, possibly altered by someone like Drew, it would be more than a scandal. It would be the detonator to an already volatile situation in Port Charles. Michael, once criticized for being an absent father during Wiley and Amelia's crucial stages, could flip the narrative entirely if it's revealed he was intentionally isolated. And if Sasha's baby is indeed his, it wouldn't just restore his legitimacy as a father, it would render Willow and Drew's accusations meaningless. YDE would be the one person capable of confirming or refuting it all. She stands on the threshold between truth and deception, and she may be the only one who can pull Michael back into the light, as Drew and Willow tremble at the thought of being exposed. Not just in court or to the public, but to their own consciences. No one fully understands YDE's motives. Maybe she's simply someone with a sense of justice. Maybe she owes Michael a debt from Germany. Or perhaps, worse, she was once a part of the system that manipulated him, now returning to make amends. Whatever her origins, YDE is now at the center of a transformation Port Charles hasn't seen in years. A young woman, stepping into town for the first time, may become the one to determine the fate of a family. A generation, and an entire power structure warped by ambition and deception. So the Nurses' Ball 2025 will not just be a stage of music and lights. It will be a theater of subtext, where every song could be a message, every glance a revelation, and every character, old or new, a potential whistleblower or exposed conspirator. YDE, standing under the spotlight, may not need to say much. A single gesture, moment with Michael, or an unexpected reaction to Sasha could send the entire storyline veering off its tracks. And once that happens, nothing can stop the eruption to come, an explosion in which Michael doesn't just fight for his children, but reclaims his identity, long obscured by a power that's never fully come into view. YDE won't just be a witness, she'll be the catalyst for a truth that has no way back. Michael is on the brink of becoming the epicenter of a new catastrophe that threatens to overtake Port Charles. What he brings back isn't just an explanation for his silence, it's a series of radical adjustments that could topple the fragile structure of power and emotion within the town. Michael is no longer Carly's perfect son. He's no longer the model father who once fought for Wiley. He's now a man reshaped by pain, betrayal, and the weight of unspoken truths that only one person may be able to confirm. The mysterious girl YDE is about to bring to life on screen. While the people of Port Charles are still unprepared to face this new Michael, colder, more calculating, and unyielding, the issues surrounding YDE's character are beginning to emerge like a silent storm headed straight for ground zero. Rumors that YDE may have been Michael's companion in Germany, or even the only witness to the cover-up involving Willow's denied visits, have elevated her role from side character to central force. She is becoming a pivot point, where every gaze, every question, and every ounce of suspicion begins to converge. The bond between Michael and YDE is not just rooted in their shared past, it's becoming the foundation of a new kind of alliance. Unofficial, undefined, but undeniably powerful. And this unnamed alliance is starting to make the rest of the Corinthos family nervous. A Michael led by a force no one can control may begin making choices that diverge completely from the family's expectations. If he chooses to reveal the truth through YDE, bypassing Carly, Jason, and Diane, then the fragile equilibrium they've been holding onto will collapse instantly. Worse still, the relationship between Michael and YDE is creating a psychological tension for those around them. Willow, once confident in her understanding of Michael, is now spiraling. Seeing a look in his eyes toward YDE that isn't just trust, it's spiritual connection far beyond that of a mere ally. Carly watches from afar, feeling isolated as her son builds a new network. Crafting plans she no longer understands. Jason, the usual neutral, is beginning to realize that Michael no longer needs his protection. He's building a new power map of Port Charles, with YDE as a key player. The real danger doesn't lie in what Michael and YDE have done, but in what they might do next. If Michael possesses evidence of Drew's wrongdoing. If YDE holds medical records proving Sasha's pregnancy wasn't a product of love, but manipulation. If there are recordings, documents, or testimonies released during the nurses' ball, when all major players are gathered, the shockwaves will reach every corner of Port Charles. And if that happens, this won't be about custody battles or broken relationships anymore. It will be a silent coup, where Michael and YDE control the stage, while the rest of the town can only sit under the lights and watch it all fall apart. A wild recalibration is truly underway. A disaster quietly waits to ignite. And at the heart of it all is Michael, once thought a victim, now the master of fate for those who betrayed him. YDE, as both witness and keyholder, is taking the story further than anyone imagined. And when all the curtains are finally drawn, what's left won't be forgiveness, but consequence, reckoning, and a new darkness revealed. Michael has returned to Port Charles quietly. But beneath the silence is a rising undercurrent of frustration, hurt, and a determination he never knew existed. He is no longer the patient man who stood back and let others decide his fate. No longer the man who allowed the woman he loved to fall into the arms of another, no longer the father who resigned himself to watching his child grow up in an environment he could not control. Now Michael is a man who has been tested, lost, and knows what it means to be betrayed in his own home, and because of that, he no longer has the patience to wait. The fight to regain custody of Wiley and Amelia is no longer a condition, but a reason to live, the ultimate goal he set when deciding to return. Drew, who was once trusted by him, is now the one who stole everything from him, from Willow's affection to the trust of his family members. Drew not only skillfully manipulated Willow, but also created a sophisticated network of control, distorting Michael's past actions, turning them into excuses to take away his role as a father. Willow, who once swore that she would always listen to Michael, now turns her back, believing the sweet words of a man who always saw her as a political pawn, not a woman who needed to be protected by the truth. And that makes Michael understand that, if he does not create a comprehensive plan and attack now, everything he once had, family, honor, trust, will be buried forever under the layer of lies that Drew built. But Michael is not alone. Returning from the shadows, he brings with him unexpected pieces of the puzzle. First is the mysterious girl played by YDE, who appeared beside him during his treatment in Germany. No one knows who she is, but what she knows, from her interactions with nurses at the clinic, from overheard conversations between doctors and sponsors, is the key to helping Michael break through the shell that Drew created to isolate him. YDE is not only a witness, but also the only person who has seen Michael at his weakest, and also the only person who has witnessed him rise from the depths of suffering. YDE's presence is not simply part of a strategy, but the beginning of Drew's downfall. If she had heard that Willow had been denied access to Michael on a fabricated basis, or if she had kept copies of the medical records proving that Michael was fit to return but was being kept on purpose, then that evidence would not be mere arguments in court, but a declaration of war against the entire existing order. Drew would no longer be able to deceive with words. Willow would no longer be able to rely on blind faith to deny reality. And Carly, Jason, Diane, everyone who had ever doubted, would now have to choose sides clearly. Michael had not come to beg. He had come with a clearly calculated plan, to gather evidence, build a legal team, reclaim his public image, and most importantly, to reclaim his son and daughter, who should not be growing up in a world built on lies and manipulation. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to threaten. It's his calm, his cool, his strategic moves that really scare his opponents. YDE, in her quiet meetings with Diane, in her brief conversations with Sasha, in her unspoken glances with Michael at the nurses' ball, is beginning to redraw the entire map of the story. She's not an observer. She's a doer. And when the time is right, she'll step forward. Not as a faceless nurse, but as the bearer of truth, the voice of a Michael who's been silenced by betrayal. And when all the truth is revealed, that Willow was tricked. That Michael was deliberately cut off, that Drew used her trust to manipulate the situation, then a very different Port Charles will emerge. A town must learn to look at itself. A family is forced to repent, and a father, a man, once a symbol of endurance, now a symbol of resurrection. Michael doesn't need to take power by force. He just needs the truth. And with the support of YDE and allies quietly gathering, that truth will not be hidden again. Michael is ready. And this time, there is no stopping him.